Help me with your client. I need a lot of client control. I don't know your client. He trusted you to go to you. You help me with that interaction. You cover the bases. Help me on it. I'll finance the case and I'll do the rest. So then in disclosures, I called Caterpillar's lawyer and said, dude, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you guys better get equipped because I'm going nationwide with this. I got 2 engines, one that's worth $275,000 and another one that's worth $450,000. And now I found in the universe that there's about 20,000 of these engines. And now I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, I have a $3 billion potential case here. Because if I was to initiate a worldwide recall of these engines because of this defect, this is going to be a very profitable endeavor. Then we also find out that Caterpillar was acknowledging that your engine was not right, was conning you into buying an extended warranty so that they can fix their own mistake, and I discovered those documents. So very quickly thereafter, after I filed my case in a favorable district in Illinois, with the 7th Circuit on top, we then immediately get a call and tell me, look, Enrique, we've taken care of the defect for the most part. We acknowledge you have some scary documents. We want to seriously settle your 4 cases. I'm like, you mean you don't want for me to file my Rule 23? You don't want for me to expand the notice? You don't want for me to cover? No, we really don't. All right? Well, you better be ready to pay, because if you're going to dissuade me from doing something that you know it's wrong, you better show up. And my clients, I guess, are going to have a very good day. So it's not confidential, but 4 cases that were worth $500,000 in a new engine and a bit of maintenance and warranty work, because economic damages are a bit troublesome, as we all know, to recover when it comes to a bad product. $8 million for 4 cases that were worth $2 million. All because it started with a conversation. I got a case, got another lawyer that was my peer that said, dude, we share the same facts. And all of a sudden, here we are. We settled the case, it paid last year, and we're on to the next one. So what's intriguing to me is, especially as I now starting to get versed with some of the rules here in Idaho, the first thing that I did, and I haven't filed any class actions here, but I hope we can together find some. The 9th Circuit, I like it. It's different. It's different. I come from Texas, where the 5th Circuit, as a plaintiff's lawyer, you're dead on arrival. I represented the Republic of Mexico in the BP oil spill. I represented all the Mexican states. My law firm spent $3.5 million with vessels in the middle of the ocean proving the Macondo finger trip. I go to the 5th Circuit after being dismissed, see BP's lawyer leaving out of the Chief Justice office, and you know how that feels. Have you ever been in a situation like that? I have no prayer on my argument, and as such, totally dismissed, even though I had argued to the panel and the federal judge that maritime species, fishes, etc., they don't need passports to cross over. There's no immigration in the ocean. They migrate naturally, turtles and dolphins and stuff. And last I checked, nobody was stopping them from coming over to our shores. Dismissed. Total power play. So then I said, Jesus, that was not a good investment. We got burned in the pocket and we got dismissed. However, we got a lot of attention. Oh, dude, so you can try a bunch of these cases. So nowadays, come to Idaho, Rule 23, eventually in 2016 becomes Rule 77. I see the statutes. They're primarily preoccupied with numerosity and commonality. Now, In Caterpillar, I did not have numerosity, but I had commonality. But Rule 23 with 4 plaintiffs would have allowed for me to have enough of a threshold to get there. And I'm like, okay, well, not bad. Can I start a class action with 2 cases? I don't know. 4? Oh, a little better. 5? Man, we're starting to get in the gray area. 10, we're golden. And that's all you need, truly, a good representative plaintiff that is also willing to do the extra work, because then you fast forward to all this class and mass tort, the representative plaintiff gets so taxed, say, am I gonna make any more money than others? Well, I don't know that you are, I don't know. Maybe we can get you a few more brownie points, but you can be making more than someone else under your same similar circumstances. Oh, but I'm testifying and I'm going forward and oh my God, it's my time and stuff. We'll try to aid you. And obviously, we always try to take care of that representative person. So, as I was preparing for today, it is so extraordinarily simple as to how you, your law firm, your interest, your clients, if you slowly dig at what's already out there, there might be just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 mass torts ongoing at one point in time in the US where you can find a bridge firm or a firm in the PSC, they're all published, to then pick up the phone and call and say, hey man, I got 4 of these cases, you want them? And more than likely, they will give you half the fee and say they'll do all the work, and all you got to do is kind of fit the little puzzle and land where it needs to land. So, having said that, early on in this year, I was born in Mexico. My English was very limited when I was a young man, and I did like crap in the LSAT. So I got admitted to Texas Southern University. That's the only university in Houston, Texas, all black law school. That was the only university that would ever give me a break. Well, years later, I get a few phone calls saying, hey man, you know the stuff about these hair relaxers? They have formaldehyde and they have all sorts of bad stuff, and we have some women that are developing cancer, uterine cancer and ovarian cancer, endometrial cancer with this stuff. Do you know anything about it? I don't know anything about it. So I make a couple of calls to a couple of my colleagues, say, hey, do you guys know anything about it? And one of my firm friends in California, they're like, oh boy, we got some similar cases to that. So fast forward on hair relaxers would primarily affect, in that one particular tort, women with very coarse hair, typically African American descent historically, and or Latino or Caribbean descent, or truly just Brazilian blowout, things of that nature, whatever. So we get of interest, and I'm like, all right, so here's my challenge, 2023, the world's very connected. Let me go on Facebook on my own to see what's up. Well, then I see that there are 150 law firms already in it, advertising. There's all these groups that now want to sell us all these cases, right? Bridge Legal, Broughton Partners. There's all these marketers out there now pretending to be lawyers as they stream the cases to now want to sell them to you at $2,500 and $3,500 and $5,500, and you get an avenue into mass tort. Well, before I dive into that, I want to understand, what am I going to litigate? Because at the end of the day, if the class settlement is terrible and I opted out, it's going to be me going to court to prove to people that this stuff is bad. So I got to get wet with it as I'm accustomed to it. So I go to Facebook and I say, all right, I speak Spanish. Is Puerto Rico considered a territory in the litigation? Oh yeah, they are. Find my little competitive edge. I start doing a bunch of TikToks and Facebook in Spanish, and Victoria is hating me for having to hold the thing and be with me and doing all the stuff I do and all my talks, and you gotta post all the time, and this is crazy. All right, so later, 55 cases of women that have used the products since little, since high school. Same story, high school use. Mom told you you would not look good with all that coarse crazy hair. Put the product in your hair. Used it at least 9 to 12 times a year. And years after, on the sweet spot, you develop uterine, endometrial, or ovarian cancer. And all of a sudden we have 55 cases. I'm like, oh my God, is there an MDL? The panel was meeting in Miami, and as you all know, MDL panels, we plaintiffs' lawyers can petition them to open up any sort of investigation, any of it. I was tempted to do so with Caterpillar. That was gonna be my next step, except that they bought me out, they settled out, and my client couldn't pass, and they told me, Jesus, I didn't know I was gonna get the 4 engines for the price of 1. You would have outdid yourself, etc. Well, great for everybody. So I petitioned in the MDL, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of other lawyers petitioning too, and we're all there wanting to speak, to have influence in the panel to seek the direction of the MDL. And it is very possible, very likely. Get up in front of the panel. Hey judge, I think this judge in this district, they're kind of bored. Look at their docket, they're not doing a lot of things. They would certainly understand this cause of action. Let's direct it and send it that way. And what happens is, you get involved in these mass torts by starting referring cases or finding commonality or finding your fit. Suddenly more people come to you. You beat other firms that are very much on top of a lot of the macro mega firms that are on top of all these panels. They start knowing who you are, and next you know, you go to one of these mass tort seminars, or you start filing your own mass tort cases, and you start getting of attention, and then these plaintiffs' law firms nationwide start looking for you to see if in your neck of the woods you're gonna find any sort of fitting class action to then feed off into the national class action. So we did it for hair relaxers. The case was sent to Illinois to a female judge appointed by President Trump. And this judge, everybody thought, Trump appointed her. I know it's Illinois. You know, some of us plaintiffs' lawyers really struggle with extreme conservative judges that really don't want us to hit these corporations and open up their book or soften up their insurance. And I attached an order in my presentation of how this judge says, wait a second, you guys, FDA is mulling a ban on this product, and I think they're gonna do it. And then formaldehyde in women's products? What are we talking about? As in the case of most manufacturers that hide, and I've been doing a little digging here in Idaho as to how glyphosates can affect us. I made a presentation to the Attorney General so that he could sue the hell out of DuPont for all the PFAS in the water and all the plastics that are contaminated at the Air Force Base and Boise Field and in other places. And you start finding ways of getting it and getting to where your local case can actually go national. So after finding all these MDLs that are out there and getting to know, I'm like, every situs, like in hair relaxers, okay, it affects primarily African American and or brown women with very coarse hair. Before, we were in a triple F. And I'm like, okay, what's going on with this phone that these firefighters